أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Welcome to our first live on relationships with our relationship coach Yaz Guru and Yasmin Al-Hadi. For those of you who have been following our page, inshallah we're going to go ahead and get started with the session today. Once she joins us, I'm going to go ahead and point out a few things about today's session.
Thanks so much for having me.
How are you?
Good. How's it going?
Alhamdulillah, great. Jazakumullah khair for joining us. I know it's not going to be too long of a session, so I am not going to take up the time that people are here to listen to you, inshallah. But before we do get started, I'm going to point out a couple of things. MashaAllah, we had an amazing response. A lot of people sent in questions about today's topic, which is how to find a husband the halal way. So we had a lot of sisters posting their questions, loads of diverse questions, mashallah. So I just want you all to know that if you have sent in a question and the question is not asked exactly how you asked it, that doesn't mean we're not answering your question. What we did was we took your questions and summarized them into a broader question. That's the first thing. The second thing is, so I just want you to know we haven't forgotten about your questions. And then the second thing is that if you have asked a question and it's not asked tonight, that does not mean that we're disregarding your question. What we've actually done is we've been having conversations with Yaz, and alhamdulillah, we are going to be doing sessions later on to address those specific topics, inshallah. So without further ado, I'm just going to say a couple of things about Yaz Guru, as those of you who know her. She's, mashallah, an attorney, a comedian, a relationship expert, mashallah, doing all these great things for those of you who are following her. And if you're not, please do and support some of the great work that she's doing for young Muslims everywhere, inshallah.
It's an honor to be here. Really nice to sit with you. You are our Ustada, you are our chaplain, Sophia, so I'm very happy to be here with you.
Alhamdulillah, it's great to have you. Thank you so much for being here with us. I'm going to go ahead and get started with our questions.
Sure.
So the first question that we had is, and this is something that a lot of sisters have been asking, and I just kind of, summarize it up. The question is, in summary, how do I make the process of finding someone easier? And one sister, Allah bless her, said that she'd actually been speaking to people, things got really serious, the brother came to her house, met her family, and then when she thought things were going to happen, he started ghosting her. So how do you avoid that situation?
Yeah, I mean, you want to know the truth? We don't avoid those situations. We go with the flow. So when we ask always, how do we make things easier? God makes things easier. And what we do is we mitigate our risk by doing everything that we possibly can do with God and going with the flow and being like water and being in acceptance, and also doing the additional things that we can do to be in alignment with what the world wants for us, be in alignment and acceptance for what, the universe sends us. So think about a guy who came and met your parents. He's down for the count. They're about to, do a kitab, or maybe they read the Fatiha or something, and then he just jets. Think about what would happen if you were pregnant and he jetted. Think about what would happen if your mom is sick and he jets. So just understand that somebody who has that kind of behavior where they can't deal and they shut down, trust me, it is a gift given to you by the universe if they exit your life. It hurts like hell. It doesn't change the fact that it hurts. But what I will say is that there is no real way to predict ghosting behavior, except for the fact that the person, when they're with you, they keep their word. So as much as people can be in their word, that includes yourself as well. So the more that you can keep to your oath and to your word, not only will your trust increase in the other person in the relationship, but your own confidence will increase. Your confidence will increase in yourself because you do what you say. This is very prophetic. What I'm saying is actually very, very heavy. It's not to say things, to throw away things like our culture sometimes pushes us to, oh, just say this, and oh yeah, I'll do that. Oh, I'll make dua for you, and you don't make dua for the person. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a completely different way of being, where you walk through this earth by the things that you say and the things that you do line up perfectly. And that is what is prophetic character. That is why the Prophet, his entire character was known to be trustworthy before he ever was received the message, because what he said he did, what was in his trust he kept. What he said, if he said he was going to be somewhere at a certain time, he showed up that place at a certain time. So if you're talking to somebody and they're telling you, oh, I'll see you here and I'll buy this ticket, I'm going to see you next week, and yeah, I'll call you, and they just ghost, or they go, oh, I'm so sorry, this came up and that came up, and it happens once and it happens twice and it happens a third time. Just, I want you to know, oftentimes people are showing you their character, is you don't want to pay attention, because you projected onto them something that you want. So that's what I'll say about that. That is 100% a bullet, 100% dodged, but it doesn't change the fact that it hurts. When we're vulnerable, when we're open with people, we get hurt. That's a part of the process. That's the part of the power of vulnerability, for example, that Brene Brown talks about, you know, in all of her writings and all of her talks. A part of vulnerability is going to a place where your heart is open. You are walking around with your heart open. And yeah, that means it's exposed, but it also means that it's open to experience all the beautiful things. So put that out there. Have good opinion of your Lord. Have good opinion of the things that are happening in your life. If somebody's walking out of your life, try your best to see the good in it and focus on that good. Not to say that you shouldn't feel all your feelings. You should feel all your feelings. But focus on the fact that the world is conspiring for you, that God has created all this for you to serve you, but you have to be willing to accept the message. You have to be willing to accept the message, and that means that you're kind of operating at a different spiritual level, and it also means that you are acting in accordance with your oath and your word, and then you gravitationally pull people around you who also only are in their word. So when they come out of their word, deuces. I mean, you know, why would I have confidence in a relationship with you? Why would I have confidence in a relationship with you when you don't do as you say? That's my basic. That's 101. That's basic character 101. But you know, exactly, energetic attraction. This is my girl. This is my life coach. I love her. She's amazing. Her name is Christina Garcia. And she's, this woman is not Muslim, but she is on our wavelength with this, okay? Because when you energetically, they call it manifestation, they call it, you know, sourcing things into your life. We believe that the world conspires for you because we have a good opinion of our Lord. We have a good opinion that if He's withholds something, then that is ease. That's actually, then there is ease in it. And that if God is giving you something, there is ease in it. And it doesn't mean that that won't come with difficulty. Both come. We know this. إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. Sometimes people look for the ease and they're not even looking for the difficulty. There's a difficulty there too. What are you supposed to learn from that ease? Don't be in ghafla. Don't close your eyes when you see the ease and not be looking for, where's the test? What's my lesson here? How can I be grateful in recognizing both states exist at all times?
Subhanallah. Subhanallah. That's beautiful, mashallah. And you said so many amazing things, and people are asking, is it being recorded? Yes, inshallah it will be, and it'll be going up on our channel, inshallah. So if you want to go back, because I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, I need my pen and paper right now. So because so
it's the
many
both and.
Yeah.
And my friend is saying that it's the both and, which exactly. So it's exactly what she's saying, which means that there's a dualism in all things. It's cyclical. So don't expect to always have ease, and don't expect to always have difficulty. Try your best to seek the balance in life, and that is why we are the people of the middle path. That's it. That's it. I love you too, baby.
MashaAllah, Jazakumullah khair. And I hope that answered the sister's question. And may Allah make it easy for you and grant you the best.
Pray for him. Pray to God. Pray for him to enter your life in a way that illuminates your eyes to the blessing. Pray for him to enter your life in a way where you only see the goodness that is being sent to you, where you only focus on the goodness, and in the difficulty you see the ease, and in the difficulty you see the lesson as well, that they come together. And pray also when no one else is praying. What are we doing? How do we make facilitation for ourselves? We come in full alignment with what God wants for us. And how do we do that? We get real close to that message. And how do we do that? We get real quiet when we ask, because not a lot of people are asking at that time, because that's a devotional act, because that devotional practice shows that you care. So if you're not waking up in the middle of the night to pray, make it a practice. Make it a practice.
MashaAllah. That's beautiful. MashaAllah. Jazakumullah khair for that. So the next question is very similar, but it's different in the sense that this sister, she was asking that, so she was talking to somebody on a dating app.
Yes.
And whilst she was talking to somebody, she said she disclosed a lot of personal details because she thought things were going to get to that stage where, you know, she was going to marry this guy. And Absolutely. She said that she can't see any sign of commitment. So how does she figure out, is he just flirting with me or is he actually looking to get married?
It's a great question. And the biggest thing I tell all women and men who are on the apps, please do not text or talk on the phone with someone for more than 2 weeks. I have a 2-week rule. See them in real time, which means move to a video interface, a video format where you're talking to them and seeing them in real time at least within the 2 weeks. Okay. Don't wait longer than that. Also, talk with them 3 times. If you can in person, that's the best potential option, obviously. But talk with them in that video interface where you see them in real time for 3 times before you say, I'm exclusive. I'm exclusively talking to you. And you know what that means, guys? That means turning off the dating apps. If the person is still on the dating apps and your girlfriends are like, hey, like, are you, like, you can have, you know, there's always like reconnaissance that you can send out. It could be that your sibling is really close to you, your girlfriend is really close to you. Like, can you check to see if this particular username is on the apps? Because you guys have to be in the same understanding with each other. After the 3rd conversation, I always say, create exclusivity to only get to know that person and give an individual 3 conversations. Give them that. But do not exceed 3 months of talking to somebody on the apps without talking about commitment timelines. And what does that mean? I have an entire Merry Mondays about this. You can check it out in my story highlights called Timelines, where I talk about why I think it's important to have this understanding. I just had a sister, you know, and I answered this question in one of my lives. 8 months of her time she spent with this guy. She really thought she was going to marry this guy. They not once talked about, well, when are we going to actually move into a proper engagement? When are the parents going to meet? It was all these ideas that never materialized. And I just believe that by the 3rd month, you need to have met friends and family. He needs to have met friends and family. And if that hasn't happened, I just say, push it along, sister friend, my good man, she's playing with you. She's playing with you. Because in my opinion, within 3 months, you should figure out, do I have an emotional connection to this person? Meaning, can I trust them in a way where I feel like can emotionally hold me, that can hold space for me? Do I look forward to talking to them? Do I want to get input on my life from them? Do they want input on my life from me? On their life, sorry, from me. So those are the kinds of things that I think that need to be worked out within 3 months. Please don't spend more than that. What if the lady says to those not want to do a video? What if the lady says yeah, bye. If you're not mature enough to speak to someone in a video interface, you're not mature enough to get married. Move it along. We're here for commitment. So if someone doesn't want to be on a video interface with you after 2 weeks, that person is not committed to you and you're wasting your time.
Okay, mashallah. I get that question a lot from young girls, really, to be honest, who have already established that emotional connection. So what would you say to those girls? Because I know I get this all the time. I do chaplaincy one-to-one sessions here in Atlanta over the phone. And I've had girls come in who, you know, met somebody at college and he's saying that give me 2 years, give me 3 years.
Right.
He's emotionally invested in the relationship. So she doesn't want to let go, but because he's telling her eventually we will get married. So what does it mean in that situation?
And so in my opinion, if someone has a timeline like that set up where the families have an understanding and you've spoken to the families, there has been, for example, rings exchanged, or there is some type of badbatki, some type of fatiha, some type of engagement. It could be even a kitab on paper, as we know, some cultures. So I don't want to speak on behalf of any families or step over any boundaries that people have culturally. But what I want to say is that if you have that set up, that's a completely different scenario. That's someone who's saying, this is what I want. We are betrothed, right? Or we are speaking in a way that is committed and loving and with the acceptance of the families involved. That's a completely different scenario. For those girls who are emotionally invested and you don't know if the person is like messing with you or serious, hey girl, hey boy, what's up? Just ask directly. we have to be able to be strong enough to say, this is my intention. Why is it that our religion is so clear about intentionality? Intentions are everything. They are not just something that belongs to Islam, to our religion. This is a spiritual reality. When you set the intent from the very beginning of what you want, you give yourself the worth and the value in the eyes of the other person to know exactly what you're about. I know what you're thinking, but I'm going to scare him away. Well, I'm going to scare her away. Then they ain't the one, boo. Then they're not ready for you. You can't be in a different space of commitment than the person that you're seeking. And you can't drag someone kicking and screaming to be in a state of seriousness. So you get out there from the very beginning. My intentionality is something serious. I'm here for a long-term relationship. I'm not here for, playing around, not talking to your, friends and family, not seeing you as a complete person. I'm not here just for a hookup. And if I am here for a hookup, then that's a separate story. Then that's a separate story, right? And there's people, and we have people right now that's what they're seeking. Well, then make it clear from the very beginning. Speak to intentionality in those first 3 conversations. What are you here doing? And then speak about taking action, putting action to your intentions within the first 3 months. That's it. That's how, in my opinion, that is my philosophy, and that is how we protect people from getting vortexed into talking to people virtually for months on end, sometimes years, sometimes from overseas, sometimes they don't see each other. And by the way, nothing I'm saying changes if you're speaking to someone overseas. You still need to speak to them within a video context, and you still need to see them in person after 3 months. Don't wait longer than 3 months, please, to see them in person. Sometimes we fall in love with somebody on text, on video, or whatever, and then you see them in person, and there's no attraction. There's no sense of comfort. There's a lack of safety. There is a feeling that maybe you were kind of duped, like there's some filters going on on the virtual world, or you know what I mean? And let's clear that all up, shall we? Yeah. Stop wasting your time and other people's time. It's really precious. Your time is super precious, and act that way. Act with intentionality, and the world will give you what you intend. What you seek is seeking you. Don't forget that.
Wow, beautiful. I love that. MashaAllah. I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next question. And I know that before I got married, this was a big one for me because I was constantly being told I was too picky. So the sister hit the nail on the head, I think, and I think a lot of sisters ask this question, is to what degree should I compromise on what I have on my wish list?
So it's all about what a wish list is based on. So if I always find this is so funny to me, like, the folks who have the longest list, both men and women, this is not just a woman thing, it's not just a men thing. The ones who have the longest wish lists have never met Santa. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the ones who have the longest, like, Christmas list have never actually been in a relationship. They've never had anything real materialize. They haven't, it's all just like, these are my illusions and fantasies and this and that. And they're living in a world that doesn't really exist. It exists in their mind, it exists in a place in their heart where it's really ready, it's like ripe for disappointment. When you set certain expectations, when you have zero experience, you are premeditating disappointment. Okay? Holding expectations based on nothingness is premeditating your own disappointment, because humans are colossally disappointing. They are. They really are. So you've got to set yourself up to make sure that your wish list is based on some type of practical knowledge. Is it based on a role model couple that you saw? Is it based on a past relationship, obviously? Is it based on seeing something going on in your home that you don't want repeated? What is your wish list based on? Is it based on your best friend who's not, maybe telling you the full truth of what's going on? Or is it based on an Instagram couple? I had a couple come to me and said, I want to love like Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. And I said, do you know Michelle or Barack Obama? They said, no. And I'm like, okay, so what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Do we have a video camera inside their home? I mean, I heard Michelle Obama get on a talk show saying that she went to marriage therapy with Barack, and people they couldn't believe that she was admitting that they went to marriage therapy. And she was like ready. She was so ready to light Obama up. Okay, she was ready to light her husband up. And she's like, for the first time in therapy, I realized I'm the problem too. Like, I was taking him there so that the therapist could tell Barack how to act. And then suddenly I was being served too. And So you have to understand that that marriage, that sacred union is always going to have wake-up calls. It's always going to have compromises. It's always going to have hiccups. It's the more that you base your wish list on reality, the better. And I would just simply say too that I have a whole Merry Mondays, it's in my highlights, called Important, about this, about what I think are the most important qualities to find in somebody. At the very top is kind and respectful speech, somebody who's fulfilled in their life, somebody who actually does what they say, that they keep their word. They're not looking for you to complete them. They've completed themselves. They understand God's love. There are people who actually align with your core values. And if you want to learn more about core values, because we don't have a lot of time here, please go to my story highlights called Core Values for some homework about what to do to get aligning core values. So your wish list has to make sense, and seek the people of wisdom around you that you respect to get that sense.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask this as maybe the last question. We'll see how we are for time. But we have a question, and this is, again, another brilliant question, mashallah. This sister said she was previously married, and although she did see red flags, she was told by friends and family that knew him that, he was a great person. So she said that once they actually got married, she realized that, he's not as great as people told her he was. So now she's saying that she is now divorced and looking to remarry. So how should she approach not being fooled again, as she put it?
It's amazing. She saw the red flag. She said that in her question. Your intuition is really strong, ladies. Super strong. If there's something that doesn't feel right with you, listen to it, especially if it shows up and it kind of shows up in another weird way and it kind of feels funny, and then you hear other people sort of like, but it's like sticking in your stomach. It's sticking in some part of your stomach. I actually have a Merry Mondays in my story highlights called Red Flags. Please take a look at it. I talk about 12 serious red flags about the way people interact in their communication style, what they're expecting of you, how they're using the calls to authority, for example, in a controlling way or in an abrasive way. If they need to be seen, if they have this undeniable need to be seen, those are people that have narcissistic tendencies, and you should walk away from individuals like that. There's a high likelihood that there is something that is beyond your ability to protect or to save, and they're hiding it from other people as well. And it's usually because of some childhood trauma that they need to deal with. So these are people who seek to control a situation, seek to control outcomes, always have to be right, consistently interrupt other people. I mean, please check that out. But I just want to say that your intuition is very important. Other than that, people lie all the time. Sometimes they lie in a way that is very difficult to stomach later. Like it's very serious and will require you to separate from them. And sometimes they lie because they don't know how they would actually act in a situation because they are very young. And I call them relationship young, which means they don't have a ton of relationship history. They don't even know what their triggers are. And this is what I say, that it's really important that you obviously get as much outside third-party help as possible. Establish care with a premarital counselor, because not if a situation happens with your husband in the future, it's just when, or with your wife in the future. At some point, you're going to have established care, and that's why I think a premarital counselor is very good, because they will establish certain ideals of what is in your mind, and then the practical reality of what's in front of you, of what those people are. The subject that we're talking about is, in this instance, is how do we not get lied to again? How do we not get duped again from a woman who is divorced, and then she wants to get remarried, but she's having a difficult time trusting. But it really comes back down to that intentionality. If you really believe that God only sends you good, and the universe will only conspire for you and has good things to send you, then you know that divorce was good. There was goodness in it, and it is poison, and it hurts, and it was terrible. And it was good, and it delivered something to you, and you have to be seeking that. And that is why the person who is of true steadfastness in their character and in their religion and in their creed and in their belief structure has no holes in it, when they can constantly see and look for the lesson that is bringing them closer to reality, closer to the truth. What is drawing me closer to the truth? That's the good thing for me. That's the good thing for me always, even if it's painful. Sometimes we have to lean into the pain. We are in a society that tries to push away from pain. Nothing good happens from that. Pushing away from pain only causes toxicity, I'm telling you guys. It only causes those narcissistic behaviors that I was talking about. Those people trying to avoid the pain that's happened in the past, they want to run away from it. And I don't want you to be that way. We get to choose to be better. And I want you to instead think, if God has sent me something else, then I will be with God in every single second of the way. And I'm going to pray my istikhara, and I'm going to pray my prayers at night, and I'm going to give my sadaqah. I'm going to pray my extra nawafil prayer. I'm going to fast my extra fast. I'm going to ask the good people who know this person, the people of wisdom, just like you did in your first marriage, sweetheart. And I'm going to listen to my intuition. I'm going to listen to my gut, because God, if I'm asking God for support and I'm getting that feeling, that's it. That's the support. It's coming right there. So listen to it. Listen to it. Clear your eyes, but clear your heart. Make sure you're polishing your heart so that your eyes can truly see through your heart, that your vision is clear through your heart and through, hopefully, God's will. And if it's your will to get remarried a second time and get divorced a second time, girl, that might not be the worst thing in the world for you. They're probably good at it. I know it's painful. I know, baby. I know it's painful. But don't shy away from the pain. Stop being afraid to deal. Instead, love fiercely and openly and honestly, and you will only get the same in return. I promise you. And even if that love from God feels like a really tight squeeze that you feel like you can't breathe, does that sound familiar? That tight squeeze from God that feels like you can't breathe? And there is a great opening in it. And there is a great message in it. And there is an important lesson in it. And this isn't the end, people. This is just the beginning. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. You are a spiritual being you're not a human being having a spiritual experience. Don't forget that. Don't forget that.
SubhanAllah.
And Rumi said to us, he said to us that the light enters you, right? It enters you when your heart is broken, right? The light enters from the wound. He said, the light enters from the wound. God is with the broken. This is the truth. He is not speaking, he is speaking from prophetic tradition. When does God swoop in to protect the prophets and to make them feel loved and squeezed? When they are feeling the most difficulty. Why is there not beauty in that? Why are we so scared of that? What are y'all so scared of? Exactly. The light enters you from the wound. Exactly. And please just sit with that, guys. Don't run away from it. And sit with your intuition. No, we can't protect against liars. We can't do that. But we can move with God's purpose and good intentionality. And that's how we always know we're going to be winning.
SubhanAllah. So many beautiful lessons, mashallah. And I don't want the session to end. I know there's a bunch of questions I wanted to ask, but we have run out of time, unfortunately. So what we are going to do, we are going to wrap up. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And
Thank
inshallah, we're really excited. We are planning our next event with Yas Guru, mashallah, on a topic that we had a lot of questions about. So I'm not going to announce that yet. We'll announce it. Please stay tuned. Follow us for that, inshallah. But Jazakumullah khair. Thank you so much for your time, Yas.
Oh,
It's
man,
been great. Mashallah, everyone's been loving it, and we will be saving it and putting it on our page.
I'm very honored to be here, and just to read some of the comments are really beautiful. Engage with this and sit with it for a little bit. You know, sit with what I'm saying for a little bit, because what I'm saying isn't easy to sometimes pick up from first blush. It sometimes takes pain to also for this to land with people. Sometimes you have to be wounded for this to land with you. And someone said, trust the process. That's a real thing. That is tawakkul. It shows up in other transformational work. Trust the process. Trust the process. We have this ingrained in our understanding. We have this already. We have this. We have mountains. We are standing on mountains. We don't even know how deep the roots of our mountains truly are. We have things that are shifting tectonic plates. Take away from your tradition or lack confidence in who you are. Be proud of who you are. Let it shine forward. And let everything in this world echo those understandings. Don't let them go against your spiritual understanding. Don't try to wrap your spiritual and your understandings of God around things of the world. Do the other way around. How can things from secular knowledge, and how can things from our world fit within our spiritual prism? Get confident about who you are. It didn't come over a day or two. Tether yourself to something real, because society will be with you today on something and be against you tomorrow. But God is always for you. God is always for you. He's standing for you. That's my biggest message, really. Because I'm telling you, because I was divorced before I got remarried. People think that my marriage is perfect. It's not. It's a work in progress. Every single day, it's a struggle. And there were things that came out in my marriage, and I'm like, how in the world did this happen to me again? Well, because some of us have to bear things with heavier burdens. Some of us have to carry heavier loads. And we all know that, obviously, from our prophetic tradition, that they carry the heaviest loads. They experience the most loss. They experience the most suffering. They experience the most hurt. So you can't experience a little bit of hurt. You can't experience a little bit of suffering. I'm not saying that the world has to be suffering. It's about your prism. It's about your prism. How are you viewing what the world is sending you? I will be quiet finally, Sophia, now. That's all. And just lean on your spiritual tradition, because it has a lot of answers for you. I'm telling you.
SubhanAllah. I think there's so many beautiful lessons to take away from that. Allah bless you, mashallah. It's been really insightful. Thank you so much for your time. Allah bless you, and we look forward to having you back again. We're so excited to have you. And
thank you. I love you so much. We appreciate you. All the folks have stayed on, and we hope that it's a source of benefit and light for people, that you don't feel so alone. You're not alone. You were never meant to do this alone.
Ameen. Jazakumullah khair. Allah bless you.
Allah bless you.
Thank you all so much for tuning in.